Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome back to Dojo Live. This is the recap show, and it's episode number 45. We take 10 minutes and recap last week's interviews. Really, they're just nice conversations we have with technology luminaries, and we try to do that in 10 minutes. So here we go. We had 3 shows last week, but before we get started, I want to welcome a new set of audience, guys. We are broadcasting on Daily Motion today for the first time. So excited to be joining that channel. Welcome to our new audience on Daily Motion. Yeah. Okay, so I'm joined today by Kim Lantis in Hermosillo, Mexico, and Carlos Ponce in Cuernavaca, Mexico. Hi, guys. Welcome back.
Hey, Tulio.
Hope you had a good weekend. So here we are. We had 3 shows last week. First show was titled Demystifying Banking Infrastructure, from Payment Standards to Data Models. That was with Walt Cox of Move Financial. And then we also had, on the next day, we had Stories from Sports to Ships to Sales with Sridhar Ranganathan, who's the co-founder of B2 Brain. And finally, we had a conversation around the social dilemma of behavioral technology, utopia or dystopia. That was with Anne Cheng, who's the founder of Supercharge Labs. So let's mix it up a little bit today. Let's start with you guys and give me what you guys thought was the most interesting show.
Well, sure.
Well, go ahead, Kim, please.
Well, I'll take it away. I think, interestingly enough, the show that I'd like to talk about today is not the show that I co-host. I just got to watch it. And that was Anne's talk about the social dilemma. And for me, it was really interesting because it came off of recently watching The Social Dilemma on Netflix. I don't know if you've watched that documentary.
Yeah.
And so it was interesting to me. I think Anne brought up a couple of really great points. She started out just of her own history, mentioning that startups and large corporations have the same problems, right? The only difference is, she says, or poses, is that large corporations dig deeper holes for themselves. But then the intertwining of how, right, this idea of artificial intelligence, machine learning can help us sort of dig out of those holes. And the thing that she poses, I guess, is that can be scary about technology is that it's been created and being created in a way that does these mental model hacks, right? Where it can basically trick us into behaviors without us even being aware of those behaviors. And so I think she postulates that we need to be very aware of how we're building technology, meaning we can't just build technology as something that sounds interesting and then make it ethical, but we need to start with ethics at the very beginning as we're building out that technology, and just always, realizing what some of the ethical challenges are, having at least that forethought and that conversation. And I think the biggest question she posed as creators of technology to answer is, do we care? And do we care ultimately about the people, because that's who it is, the people at the receiving end of the technology that we're building? And then if the answer is yes, which it very much should be, we need to be thinking about the solutions and the possible repercussions of what we're doing well before we actually do it, right? And she mentioned like a wide range of ethical possibilities, right? Perhaps this could imply job loss. Perhaps this could be feeding into the cognitive biases of the people who are creating the technology, right? So long story short, it's not easy, but we at least need, the first step, as with anything, is awareness. And I think that's what her immediate shout out is, to be aware.
My conclusion from that show was that we need developers and folks focused on developing AI technologies to take on some enlightenment courses, right? Because there's a need to be consciously aware of the fact that we could be automating behaviors that are not going to serve us very well. And with big movement towards more inclusivity, transparency, openness, we risk automating behaviors that have not supported that historically using technology. So the role of ethics and the idea of you need to care about people becomes a big deal. I really enjoyed that show as well. What about you, Carlos? Which one of the 3 stood out for you?
Definitely Tulio, the one with Sridhar Ranganathan, and for a number of reasons. Not only is Sridhar a very interesting fellow, he's very approachable and it's just fun to chat with. But also because of my personal take on the topic itself of sales development. And this is kind of like a context in which I came across and I met Sridhar. That's precisely about in a sales development community. And what pulled my interest the most from this conversation was the concept of, and actually I even asked him about it, the concept of contextual intelligence. And when I asked him about, hey, well, this is what you talk about. You provide contextual intelligence on your target account. So what is it? So learning that the contextual intelligence is the practical application of knowledge and information to real world situations, and then how this is approached aided by technology. This is definitely an attention grabber. So I think that there's his conversation we had with him allowed me to I don't know how to get more closely associated with wisdom and practical knowledge in using a technical tool or technology. So this is what I definitely found interesting. I think I walked out of that conversation sort of feeling empowered to predict. This is kind of wishful thinking, but sort of predicting a certain degree of success in real life performance situations through solutions like B2Brain. So that's what definitely grabbed my attention, Tulio, from this particular one.
Right. I think B2Brain is actually a really good example of what Anne was talking about, right? Utilizing artificial intelligence. Their own B2Brain, what they do is provide their users with information, the companies that they're interested in engaging with, right? So that we can therefore make our sales process more personalized and in theory more successful, right? So right now, B2Brain's doing that at the company. Well, our proposal was that they also apply that same technology. And maybe this is where the ethical question comes in, I don't know, but how could we apply that at the contact level, the individual level as well? How could I not only engage with the company better, but the actual contact, the actual person that I'm going to be reaching out to in my sales endeavors? So interesting conversation.
Yeah, interesting. I mean, the common thread between both of those conversations is the focus on people. Get to know people, care enough to care, to provide some value, and that requires doing a little bit of homework and also doing the right thing. And,
right, which leads us nicely into
really
the first talk, the first talk of the week, right? Which was with Walt Cox, who is business development at Move Financial. And this was demystifying banking infrastructure from payment standards to data models. And his postulation or question was, can transparency in banking drive meaningful shifts in financial behaviors? And so really what Move is all about is open source, right? How they can use their technology and make that technology and that knowledge available to the developing world who can better benefit from what they've discovered.
Exactly. It also goes to show that just because something is open source doesn't mean you can't build a business around it. They've created basically a concierge service that enables ease of use for a lot of businesses to do ACH transactions. So there's opportunities. If you're looking to solve problems, there's opportunities out there. Great conversations. If we've intrigued your interest, you can check out all the shows at nearself.dojo.com. Any one of them are there. There's a search box. You want to search a topic that interests you. Chances are with, 300 plus interviews, there's probably going to be something you're going to be interested in finding. Carlos, what do we got coming up this week?
Well, this week, Tulio, it's, as you probably can imagine, is going to be a week full of surprises, of great guests. And okay, so that's going to be tomorrow. We're going to be, no, wait a minute. On Wednesday, we're going to be speaking with Mark Grob, the head of Immersive Tech Center for UPS. And the topic is going to be XR and enterprise through the years. So I look forward to learning what this is about. And then on the same day, this is going to be a double whammy because this one is at 10 p.m. Pacific. And then at 1 p.m. Pacific, we're going to be speaking with Greg Dickinson and Doug Udoff, the CEO and CCO, respectively, of Omidim. And this is going to be about the importance of buyer enablement. In other words, building trust digitally throughout the customer journey. And so that's what we have for this week, Tulio. And I don't have the topic for Thursday yet, but as you can imagine, it's going to be a heck of a conversation. So
come back to, at 1 p.m. We went a little over today, but we'll get it next time. Thanks for joining us.